Starting in quarantine without an end in sight, we're bringing to you advice and good conversation from one teenager to another. This is Sanika and Sandhya with Armbridge, a podcast we hope to be informative and reflective of the everyday world around us. Thank you for joining us today. It is May 28th. This is supposed to be my last day of school. And last week we talked about our self-perception and how it relates to other people around us. And this week we're going to talk about, you want to tell us?
Law of attraction.
Law of attraction. All right. So we can start with definition. To you, what is law of attraction?
To me, law of attraction, this is not like a actual definition, just like my experience with it. It's kind of like putting out there what you want to the universe and then the universe giving it back to you in some capacity kind of thing. Like just a very broad definition. So
Right. Mine, I definitely agree with that one. That one's what I got. Have you watched The Secret?
No.
Okay, I'll get into that later. But I really like law of attraction as a topic because it's something I have a repertoire of knowledge in. But okay, so the law of attraction, there was another podcast I listened to, and they were saying that there are some like sources, some websites that kind of give a 5-step process almost for like the very pragmatic folk. To what it takes to like manifest things with the law of attraction. And so they had 5 things. First was that, okay, well, as she said, it's basically that anything you want, any like goals, desires, stuff like that, you can manifest your entire life to be what you want by visualizing it and genuinely wanting it and just manifesting it, right? And so the kind of steps that I read to it was that, one, it's attainable. You can't manifest like ice cream
Timothy
raining
Chalamet
from the sky. You can't manifest dating Timothy Chalamet. No. But yeah, like it has to be attainable. It could be something that like you can reasonably do. Like it doesn't have to be completely like rational. You don't have to be like, okay, I want good grades in this class and that is the only attainable goal. Like it could be something kind of crazy, but not like ice cream raining from the sky. Like it should obey the laws of physics. At the very least. 2, you need to genuinely believe that you can and will get it. Like you have to have it ingrained in you. Like if I don't know, man. If I wanted this plant to grow a fruit, I have to be like, this plant is going to grow a fruit. It will. It will. And I have to like, genuinely believe that in my soul. Then the 3rd step, I really don't like steps. I'm not a list person, but like this helps with skeptics. I've seen that skeptics really love numbers and lists and bullet points. So I know y'all. So the 3rd is to let it go. Once you believe that you can get it, you shouldn't obsess over it. Like it shouldn't take over your entire life. You shouldn't be like, okay, if I don't get this, I'm literally gonna die. I have to like just trust that it will happen. I need water. My voice is very like right now. Let it go. Don't obsess over it. 4, be grateful for what you have. I thought this one was interesting because I was like, why? And then I realized attitude, right? Like the whole point of law of attraction is that having a good attitude will change your perspective and it will bring good things back to you. So be grateful for what you have because a positive attitude goes a long way. And then 5, take action. Obviously, if you just think things, it's not going to magically appear in front of you. Like if you want good grades, you're not going to be like, I'm going to have an A and then just like not study for a test. Like you should do things for it, right? Good grades is the most simple of examples. I'm going to go into the more unhinged responses or goals later. But the most simple of goals, take action, right? Let it like
No, yeah. I guess you just have to like take the steps to make it happen. Like you can't just assume, you can't just sit there and assume that it will come to you. You gotta like live your life as if you are like you have it, and then it'll come.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, and that's what it means. Also, I noticed that like if you genuinely believe that something will happen and you like really like are passionate about it, then the whole action part kind of naturally happens. Like if you really want it that much, you will do what it takes to get there. So work for things.
Yes.
So just to start off casual, what are some things you've manifested in your life?
All right. So I've manifested texts from people, like
Ooh,
genuinely. I've manifested good grades. I think I'd like to think, and then I think I've manifested like not like relationships as in like romantic relationships, but like friendships with people
right.
that I've wanted to be friends with. I've like somehow manifested those three things are like the top few
Mhm.
things. I never really like tried to manifest like materials and stuff because I just don't. Oh, also like weight loss.
Hmm.
I don't know if I manifested that or if that's through like working out, but like I definitely tried to like manifest feeling more like positive about my body and
Mhm.
like I think that through that and also working out or maybe the working out was like a mechanism of the
That's the
manifestation, but
take
like
action aspect.
yeah, you know what? Maybe yeah, I guess I did. I never really thought of that. But yeah,
Yeah, for
like
sure.
body positivity
Body
too.
positivity, yes.
How about you?
On a similar, for me, yeah, it was kind of, like, the first one's kind of similar. Not body positivity necessarily, but like self-love, which like falls in the same department, right? I think that was definitely manifested because that was like a whole process. I've talked about it a lot in like previous podcasts, but that was definitely a result of like manifestation. I was like, you know what? I'm going to love myself, and
Facts.
we got there. I mean, it's obviously a journey, but for now we're in a good place, so I can say that. I also manifested long nails, however that is. 'Cause I used to have a really bad habit of biting my nails. So I was just like, you know what? No, I'm gonna have long, beautiful nails. And lo and behold, I quit that habit. Um, two other ones, like academic goals that I manifested, are so the way high schools work in my district for our listeners in Germany and Ireland, thanks for tuning in. I'm pretty sure y'all are bots, but if you're not, God bless you. um, but yeah, the way high schools work in my area is that we have one that we're zoned to, but each high school also has like academies that you can apply to. And so I wanted to be a part of the Math and Science Academy because I had a huge superiority complex in eighth grade. But I did it, so that's
There
there.
you go.
Um, Also, in eighth grade, I was like struggling with algebra in the beginning, but I was like, I'm gonna get good at this. I'm gonna be good at math. And lo and behold, I did it. I was like class scholar. So
Damn.
I manifested that as well. And then finally, this one's a fun story. It's really recent, but I really, really, really wanted to go to the BTS concert that was supposed to happen this month, but coronavirus had other plans. But anyways, during the ticket buying process, they dropped the dates for tickets, and it was in 2 weeks. They were like, okay, ticket sales start in 2 weeks. Have fun, go. And I was like, right? So we didn't even know the ticket prices. I was like, okay, I'm gonna guess like 400. It wasn't, thankfully, but I went for the higher end of the estimate just to be safe, right? And I was like, okay, well now I have to get $400 in 2 weeks somehow, and I did it.
You
I
did.
did. I did. So what I did was I can crochet, right? And so I was like, maybe I could like sell little crochet stuff. And so one Valentine's Day was around the corner, so I was like, I can crochet some things for people's love interests.
That's kind
So
of
made some money
genius.
off of that, and then also I did like little animal keychains. I actually have one like right there. I can pull it over. Look, it's a little octopus.
Oh,
I have like
that's
an
so
octopus.
cute.
Oh, my
Dude,
hair.
that's so cute. I
Thank
love
you. There's
that.
like an octopus, a frog, a cat. We've got the whole deal. Anyways, I sold those for like $8 each. Um, and I got my 400 and I got the tickets. So
Wow.
when I said it in the beginning, I was like, I'm gonna get $400 in 2 weeks. Everyone's like, Sanika, you're crazy. And I was like, no, I will. And
Dang, that's awesome.
yeah, so that was definitely manifestation. I mean, no sane person gets $400 in 2 weeks, but lo and behold, it happened. So that's one thing.
That's
Um,
insane. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So those were some examples on my part.
I thought something interesting to address. This isn't exactly law of attraction, but it's like manifestation kind of thing. So, like, this is kind of a conspiracy theory kind of thing. I'm not sure, but
Oh, okay.
it's like
We're going Shane Dawson on this podcast.
it's a little weird, but okay. So I, as a teen, used TikTok a lot. Like, not proud of it. Actually, kind of proud of it. But I use it quite a lot, and like, I've used it since like last year before. I mean, coronavirus before it like exploded in the U.S. and stuff, and like all this kind of thing. And like, there have been like little videos made. I don't know exactly the names of the people that made them, or else I would have credited them. But like little theories that somehow we manifested like
We
all this
manifested the
kind of
virus, Jesus Lord.
cuz like okay, hear me out. Before all of this started, there were like these audios trending about like diseases and like crying in prom dress. You know that song, I'm sitting here crying in my prom dress or
Right.
something? And like they were all over TikTok. Everyone was using them. This is probably such a reach, but like I just thought it was an interesting topic to discuss. And like people now are saying that we like somehow manifested all the seniors getting prom canceled, and then
Because of the song.
like through the song, and then the disease song. I don't want to sing it out loud because it's kind of inappropriate. But
Okay.
but yeah, so that song also like somehow the whole of TikTok collectively manifested this to happen, and then everyone's like, okay, we can like manifest it to go away. But I don't know if that's even possible, because like I feel like it falls outside of the physical realm of possibility. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. Like I think it's definitely interesting because if you watch The Secret, it's basically about law of attraction. And they had like a bunch of different experts. Like they had authors, writers, philosophers, metaphysicians, and quantum physicists. Like,
Whoa.
yeah, I was like, man, if you can get a metaphysician and a quantum physicist to agree on
Quantum.
something, you've done it, right? But The Secret, it was basically a documentary from the early 2000s. It's an adaptation of a book too, which I need to read, but more on that later. But it covers basically the law of attraction, and it says there's a lot of like things that seem outside the realm of our control that people still end up manifesting. Like in the beginning, they were talking about a man. He was constantly like harassed for being gay, and like he kind of manifested people into leaving him alone, which I was like, what? Like that sounds entirely out of someone's realm of control. But the way they put it, which was interesting, I don't know if I fully agree with it, but it was interesting, is that his perspective kind of changed, right? So in the letter he wrote to someone asking for help, the person who helped him pointed out, like, look, you're focusing on all the things you don't want, right? You're attracting all of this negative attention to you because you're focusing on the negative attention. Versus if you like concentrate that energy into like unapologetically being yourself and like, I don't know,
Yeah.
onto happier things or things you do want. So you want to be left alone. You want to be treated as like another human being, etc., right? So once you kind of switch the focus of that, it got better for
Yeah.
him, which I was like, that's really cool. I don't know if I believe it, but that's cool. But with the virus, I mean, it's interesting. It is interesting. But
I mean, I
I was
mean,
thinking from another standpoint too. I was thinking racism because with everything going on right now,
yeah.
I was like, man, and since the podcast topic was law of attraction, I just kind of let my mind go on its own tangent. I was like, is there any like would it theoretically be possible for us to like
Manifest like
manifest?
ending police brutality or something.
Yeah, and the issue with that
Man.
is that like that requires a collective effort, like the virus
Yeah.
and like racism and like all these social issues and stuff, they're in our society's collective conscience. And unless that collective conscience changes, things aren't going to get moving, right?
Right. Yeah, like it's a very systematic issue, like this whole
Exactly.
police brutality thing. And I feel like manifestation, I don't even know if it's possible on that large of a scale, but even if it was,
If
the
it was,
people
it's
who are
highly suspect.
perpetuating, yeah, exactly. Like the
Hmm.
people who are perpetuating all of these like acts of brutality also have to believe that they need to stop, which like
Exactly, which is almost impossible to achieve.
that
Like,
ain't happening anytime soon,
it's
is the
not.
sad truth.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. My mind went theoretically, yes, maybe. But will people cooperate with that? No. Because
No.
there's literally nothing humans can do that doesn't create some sort of division. Like, we aren't truly united on any issue ever.
Oh, that's, yeah, very
I think,
painfully obvious nowadays.
yeah. On that note, everyone, be kind to one another. I had like a whole spiel on my Instagram story, like literally everyone else on the internet. But I was basically saying, like, educate yourself, obviously, but like, be accountable, right? This is kind of sidetracking, but I just felt the need to get it out. Um, I feel like as minorities here, we feel like we're not really playing a part in it. We're just like on the sidelines, right? Like, this is centuries old before my people got here, blah, 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 whatever. But like, no, we're equally accountable because if we're not actively trying to dismantle the racism that occurs, then in a way we're perpetuating it. 'Cause
Complicit,
we're,
yeah.
yeah, we're allowing for it. We're saying, I'm not involved with this, y'all take care of it. But that's not going to help solve the problem, right?
Yeah,
So
100%.
we should be held equally accountable for what's going on as,
Yeah, yeah, I
yeah,
totally agree. Like I mean, unfortunately I saw the video on my Facebook timeline and
you
like you
know,
can see the cops that are standing off to the side, like they don't have his knee on the guy's neck, but like I
they're
mean,
still
they're
allowing it.
pretty much they're allowing the other cop to do that. Like they're
That's
allowing him to kill
ridiculous.
him and they're hearing this guy cry out and they're
Mhm.
just not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, it is a bit tangential, but it's very important in this time
Mhm.
period. I mean, today of all days, you know,
Especially because it's like in the limelight today.
so
I
fresh.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's always there, like racism is always there as like a subcurrent always, but like
But it's kind of coming in
these
the
past
forefront
few
right now.
days, yeah, these past few days I've like really been trying, like I want to do something. I don't want
Hmm.
to just like post on my social media. I feel like that's
That's not enough.
performative. Like
Yeah.
it's not like I'm actually just I mean, I I can't even form a coherent thought, but
No, I
like
feel
I
it's
just want
a
to do
sensitive topic.
something, like something. I want to go to rallies and I know there's a rally going on tomorrow, but like
Hmm.
I don't this is where I don't know whether to like put my own, my family's health above like the public health, I guess, or like I don't know what
Like
to
safety,
do.
right? If
Right.
I have a solution. This is a really small one, but regarding the isolated incidents, a lot of people are like linking the email addresses of these like police stations and phone numbers of like representatives for the state or even like the city mayors. And there have been multiple incidents within the past week that call for some sort of like legal action,
Right.
right? So anyone that's listening and wants to do something, y'all should call state representatives, y'all should call the city's mayors, call the police departments, say that these people need to be charged, and be like, look, I know this situation. I know you've already gotten countless emails about the situation. I'm sure you're already aware of what I'm going to say, but change isn't going to happen on a larger scale unless we start punishing people for these isolated incidents and stuff like that, you know?
It's inevitable that we talk about it to an
Yeah,
extent
because
because like
honestly, the way
it's
things have been going,
everywhere.
I can't
Yeah.
avoid it. Um, but law of attraction, you were saying coronavirus. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think we can unmanifest it? I think, as I was saying, like the virus and like the action part from the 5 steps I gave in the beginning would be like social distancing, wearing a mask,
Right.
hand sanitizer, washing your hands, right? And unfortunately, these habits are not in our collective conscience. So, like, as a society, we are divided over masks, for Christ's sake. So,
Yeah, we're not doing so good on the social
can we
distancing.
unmanifest it? I don't think so. Could we theoretically? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. If like everyone would get behind it, then
If
it
everyone
could
does their
happen.
part, yeah.
But
But
not
not
that
everyone's doing their
that's
part. Second PSA, kids, stay at home. I don't care how bored you are. I don't care how much you miss your haircuts. I don't care how much you miss restaurants. People are dying. Stay home.
facts. Tell them. I agree
Yeah.
100%.
We are
Let's
pro-mask on this
manifest
podcast.
ending coronavirus.
Maybe we could manifest ending coronavirus, but
We
take
gotta take the
action. It won't just
steps.
happen.
Yeah.
All right. Since we're going into the pessimistic little hole, one of my little side notes was negative manifestation in terms of like law of attraction. So what are your opinions on that?
Negative manifestation. So, I guess like manifesting things that you shouldn't, or like accidentally manifesting something bad happening to you.
Both, pretty much. Like any manifestation can work both ways, right? Like you can have good goals and like dreams and be like, I'm going to do this down the line and it's going to be great. Or, you can start feeding yourself negative thoughts, negative things, and like
Right.
manifest it
Yeah.
anyway, right? So
Okay, thoughts on that. So
yeah.
I guess like I feel like before I even learned about law of attraction, manifestation was still like in the back of my mind, or like taught to
Mm-hmm.
me by my parents. Like even though it's not by the name law of attraction, or like by the phrase, like the word manifestation, it's still something that, we hear a lot. Like if you put yourself in a positive mindset, good things will come to you. But if you focus on negative things, bad things will come to you. I mean, that's just like a general train of thought among like most people. I mean, I've heard that since kindergarten, like since I was very little, and I had no clue what law of attraction was. So I feel like, yeah, like it's very possible. I mean, a lot of the time, like a lot of people keep thinking negatively. That's what affects their whole like experience with manifesting in a bad way, because you think about what you don't want
Mm-hmm.
overly, and like you keep thinking that in your brain. But they always say like use positive affirming sentences rather than negative affirming sentences. Like instead of saying I don't want I don't know, I don't want bad grades, I don't want bad grades, then you should say I want good grades. Like you
Yes,
should
yes, yes,
you
yes.
should use like a positive sentence rather than negative, I guess.
Mm-hmm. No, I know what you mean. I was actually gonna bring that up down the line, so this is good. I've seen that. I used to have a really bad habit of that. Like I keep a journal, right? I've been writing in my diary since I was 10 years old. And kind of looking back, as you said, law of attraction had kind of been in the back of my mind for most of my life because my parents showed me The Secret when I was little. So that idea had been there.
Oh, that's
But
cool.
as you said, I kind of read or just saw somewhere on some like post on my feed that the same thing as you said, like you shouldn't create goals based on like a negative context. Like I would be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, or I want to break this habit, or I like as you said, I don't want to get bad grades, or I don't want to act like this, or I don't want to seem so and so to someone, right? And as you said, like that's negative as much as it is working as much as we're gonna cut this like while the intention of the goal is to enforce something positive, the wording is negative and therefore you're focusing on that negative aspect, right? So now I don't know with the bad grades example, because that's like all the students, it's so ridiculous and shallow, but like whatever, it's fine, it's relatable. With the bad grades, like if I was to say I don't want bad grades, well suddenly I'm focusing on like bad grades, right? Versus if I say I want straight A's or I want to get good grades, whatever that may entail. Now I'm focusing on the good grades instead of like
Right.
avoiding bad grades. I'm focusing on achieving the good grades, and that wording makes all the difference in your head. So.
Right. Yeah. And then sometimes like you even like I don't know if you do this, but sometimes I'll like say what I want out loud like before I go to bed. I'll just be like, "Universe, give me blah blah" or something, like cuz I've just assumed, I've heard that also, like if you ask the universe out loud somehow.
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, exactly,
Yes.
exactly. There's another common phrase that like we never really notice, but
Mm-hmm.
that is law of attraction kind of.
Exactly.
But yeah, I always like look up little phrases. They have some common, what are those like affirmations that you can
Mm-hmm.
say before you go to bed, and sometimes I'll just like, say them out loud, regardless of how stupid I sound.
Right.
I'll
No,
just
I get
like,
it.
I mean, I want them to happen.
Yeah,
So,
no, dude. I do that too. And as we said, like goals, we're talking good grades and stuff, but honestly, they can be as wacky as you want. You know what? Like,
like manifest. I mean, I've seen people try to manifest Timothy Chalamet, and I don't, I don't know if that ever panned out. I don't think it panned out for them, but you
you
know,
know what? Maybe.
maybe with time, I don't
Hmm.
know.
No,
I
I
don't
think
know.
I've manifested something like atrocious like that. Like, I've always wanted to meet a celebrity, right? And then we were in Costa Rica, and we met Amir Khan in the middle of the jungle,
I remember,
literally in the middle
I
of the
remember
forest. It
those
was the
pictures.
strangest thing ever. We were like between two major cities. It was the forest. We were in like a tiny strip mall, and he was
It's
just
the
there. We were like,
randomest thing.
God. That was probably manifestation in some sense or another, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I think you could totally do
That's
outlandish
so
stuff like
that's
that.
completely wow, yeah.
Yeah. But negative manifestation, we we keep sidetracking. Okay, this is a conversation. I have two examples of like when I've definitely negatively manifested something. So I think the first example is that in my sophomore year of high school, man, it was a rough year. I had a terrible time, and honestly, like I was reading my diary leading up to it, um, and I don't know, I just noticed that like as the year progressed, I just became more and more and more cynical and negative and like blah blah blah, you know? And so in a sense, I kind of manifested that. Like I had a terrible year academically, emotionally it was like rock bottom. It was terrible, right? But I could see the buildup. Like when I was reading my diary, it started like, oh, this is annoying. And then I was like, oh, I'm so frustrated. And then it was like outright anger. It's like, oh, this system's unfair, right? Which, I mean, yeah, it is. Life sucks. But I was really focusing and concentrating my attention into it. And because of that, things just like
Right.
spiraled out of control and it got really, really bad. So I think that's one thing. Two is bad grades in math. um, and the thing is, I'm good at math. I'm not bad at math at all. Like, I don't
Mhm.
have trouble grasping the concepts. I'm a quick learner for it. But I manifested bad grades in math. Like, I just didn't do well because while somewhere inside me I wanted to improve, I just wasn't focusing my attention to that. And so in high school, my grades in math were subpar, to be honest.
It's easy to kind of start getting into like a negative mode of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Like while I started like actually actively using law of attraction and like manifestation like 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm not like super experienced with it, but like I know in the back of my head, like we were talking about earlier, it was always there, like just the knowledge. And I mean, like a few months ago, like I was really not in a good place emotionally, and I would always just like come home and like complain about it like to my
Mm-hmm.
parents, and I was always just like, and even when they would like suggest, you should try this and maybe it will help you or something, I would always kind of wallow in like self-pity
Yeah,
more
it's
like
like,
rather than like
oh,
trying to
wow.
pull myself out of it. And
Because
I
you were
think that's
focusing.
right, exactly. And I
Yeah.
think like I manifested that. Like just I mean, maybe initially it wasn't me that had like put myself in a bad emotional state. Maybe it was like external factors, but just by like wallowing in it and like bathing in my sadness kind of and not doing anything to pull out of it, that action portion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And not even like thinking good thoughts, that like just pushed me deeper and deeper until, you know, like and I couldn't get out of it. And I mean
Mm-hmm.
now I'm fine because, but yeah, that time
No, I
period
get
was a
it.
little rough.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the same thing as like what I was saying with my sophomore year. As you said, I think you brought up a good point. It's not that you caused it necessarily. Like that definitely happened due to external things. For me, it's because sophomore year is obviously significantly harder than freshman year. I also like my mom was like away for 6 months, and then on top of that, I was going through like some emotional stuff on my own. I don't know, man. Like
Mhm.
a lot of things contributed to me feeling upset, and like that's the thing. Life is not always great. Life sucks sometimes. But
Yeah,
it's what you choose to do with that situation that really makes a difference. And that's where law of attraction
exactly.
comes in, right? Like I could have either done what I did and like just wallowed in self-pity and like really focused on all the terrible things going on. Or I could have been like, yeah, this isn't good and I shouldn't force myself to be happy, but I also shouldn't obsess over the bad things going on. Like that shouldn't consume me. And so
That's facts. Yeah.
yeah.
You know those like very specific types of manifestations rather than like the broad, I'm thinking of something, I'm thanking the universe, whatever, I'm
Mhm.
affirming, and then I, take steps to get it. Rather than that, there are like some really specific like manifestations. I don't know. I like kind of fell into a YouTube hole.
Did
And
you watch Nicole Raffi?
I don't know
No,
what this
okay.
woman's name is, but there's this thing called the 17-second method. I don't know. It's like you can manifest somebody, like someone. I've never tried it, but there's all these like very specific, like what I talked about earlier, getting a text back, right? There's like a very specific scene that you're supposed to see in your brain in order to manifest a text back. Like you're supposed to picture your phone in a dark room and picture it lighting up, and then it's lighting up with the text from that person. It sounds so stupid when I say it
No,
out loud.
I'm
But
not
but
entirely a disbeliever.
yeah, no, it's like all these really specific ways to do it rather than like a more broad approach. And I tried it. Like you're supposed to, close your eyes, imagine your phone in a dark room, imagine your phone lighting up, and then you go pick up your phone. It's a text from somebody that you wanted to text you back. And then you're supposed to just like forget about it and live your life as, the normal manifestation says. And like it's a very specific scenario, which is why I don't know if it would work for everybody, but I genuinely feel like it worked for me. Like
Really? I
I mean
manifested someone into like talking to me once, but that backfired terribly. We're not going to get into that.
oh. But at least the mystery's gone.
I
Like at
mean, it
least you talked
happened,
to
so
them.
maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's possible to manifest like specific. That's where I understand skeptics, cause
Yeah,
like
like some of this stuff sounds really outlandish, but I mean,
yeah, yeah.
if
But I
it's
mean, if
worked for
it's
you, then
yeah,
sure. Who
exactly,
am I to say it
exactly.
doesn't?
No, I don't know. I mean, I maybe it was just like the fact that I forgot about it and then it happened like a few days later. Like
Hmm.
I stopped thinking about it and it stopped like affecting me that they weren't texting me back. But then like it just like happened out of nowhere.
Right.
But maybe it was like me imagining that whole scenario and then, I mean, there's no way to tell unless there's no way to tell. But like I just thought those like very specific scenarios are
Hmm.
interesting to think
They
about.
are, yeah. Especially for me, the stuff that's like out of your control fascinates me. As you said, like a text back or manifesting Timothy Chalamet or like I don't know,
Yeah,
I like stuff
totally.
like that. That fascinates me because I that's where I start kind of crossing the bounds and I become more of a skeptic. Because for me, I use law of attraction more in like what I can attain for myself. But there's also, as you said, plenty of stories that people have told where it's like, oh yeah, I've like manifested something completely out of my control or like
Right.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's where I get it. Like I get the skepticism. I kind of feel
yeah, but I
skeptical to an
mean,
extent.
again, if it works for some people and there's no harm in me believing that it could work for me, then like I could try it. Like shoot, there are plenty of people I want to meet and like accidentally run into. But yeah, I mean there's no harm in trying
Like
as we
why
said.
not? Yeah,
Yeah, just go for it. It's
exactly.
not going to kill you to do it. And
Right.
the whole point of law of attraction is that you don't obsess over it. So it's not like going to take over your life. You're not going to be like, "Okay, now that I've manifested this person has to show it." Like it's not like that. Just live
If
your life.
anything, it's probably a good thing because you're
Yeah,
putting
you just
yourself in a
want
more
things.
positive mindset.
Yeah. So yeah, I think. Ooh, okay. We can move into like our next segment after this one last thing. But are there any things you want to manifest in the future? Like if you don't mind sharing a couple.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of things I want out of life. I guess one thing would be probably like a trip to Bali or like some place around the world. I mean, that's definitely something I've wanted to do for a really long time, like kind of travel the world on my own, but specifically visit Bali. Like I've
Mhm.
always wanted to visit Bali. I
It
don't know
seems like a
why.
nice place. I want to visit Thailand.
Yeah.
Oh, I get
Ooh,
it. Thailand's really nice. I really
Thailand.
go. Yeah.
Thailand and then I guess maybe getting into like a good university. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like my time for manifesting that is kind of closing
Not
because, I'm
really.
applying.
No, I've
That's
totally
true.
manifested things on like a close call. The $400 in 2 weeks. Come on now.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I can't,
Your window's
I
never
can't forget about
closed.
that. You know what? Yeah. Yeah. You're right. And then I guess um like right now I think that's pretty much also a job.
Oh, I
But
tried manifesting that. And then the coronavirus happened and I couldn't find one. And I was like, well,
oh,
I guess I can start a podcast now.
well, it was a good idea. I like it.
Maybe this will be my job in the future. Maybe this is God, like,
Maybe.
let's see what happens. If there are any sponsors, once we start monetizing this, I will advertise anything for you.
Oh my gosh. Be careful. They might come and make you advertise something.
I got it.
Yeah. No, you know what? Anything, I mean, maybe this could. Anything can happen. Anything
Yeah.
can happen.
But yeah, you
Monetize the
jobs,
podcast.
boy. So jobs, universities.
What
My
about you?
university manifestation time is done. Oh man, what a time. I remember in junior year, I'd be like, where can I see myself? And then I'd cry because it's like not any of the top colleges. I'm like, no, I can't do this.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not
Dude,
even trying for those.
I toured Rice and I came home and I literally started crying because I was like, this was not for me.
I mean, at least you're getting out of Houston, going to a good college,
Yeah, boy.
and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
Rice,
absolutely.
if you can't see yourself there, then it do not matter.
Yeah. Okay, some things I want to manifest. As I said, I'm gonna go to the Grammys in 7 years. You may say I'm crazy, but you just wait.
I'll watch out.
Yeah. Also, within the next year, I want to make music I'm proud of because that's been a goal of mine for a long time, and I'm kind of getting tired of not doing things. So I'm like, you know what, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
I'm also manifesting good grades in math because I have manifested bad grades in math for a very long time.
There you go. Turn it around.
Reverse it. Pull an Uno reverse. Be like, hey, I am going to be a scholar.
Period.
So those are 3 things I'm currently manifesting right now. All right. So we have reached that time of our podcast hour. That was the most incoherent sentence to come out this entire hour. Where we do deep questions with friends.
Dang, these are very deep questions.
I'm telling you, dude, I love these. All right. So I'll go first.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Are humans obligated to better themselves in order to make themselves happier?
No. Because should I like expand?
Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't think it's an obligation. I think it's more like a, like a desire to better yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you being like a I don't think like this is so hard. I don't think like being unhappy makes you harm anyone else. So I think it's fine. Like you're not obligated to, but like if it comes to a point where like okay, yeah, that's it. I can't think of anything.
No, I see that. All right. So for me, I don't know that it's an obligation necessarily. I feel like we feel obligated, but a lot of people ignore it anyways, if that makes sense. Like, there's this book that I really like. It's called Damien by Herman Hesse. If you haven't read it, go read it because it is my favorite book ever. It is the best piece of literature to grace this planet. But he mentions in this paragraph, he was like, there is a voice inside of you that always knows what the right decision is. It always knows what, like, you should do, what your next course of action should be. And people, just because of like societal standards or because of norms or fearing looking like an outcast or an outsider, people actively ignore that, right? And the more you ignore it, the quieter and quieter it becomes. So I think we feel a compulsion to better ourselves in order to make ourselves happy, because that's what that voice is telling us in the back of our mind. That's what our intuition's telling us. But some people actively ignore it because, they'd rather wallow in self-pity because it gets them more attention, or, like, they're different reasons. But I think we have a compulsion, but whether we act on it or not is...
That was such a good answer.
It's okay. I copy other people's words.
No, but still, that was very, like, well, it seemed well thought out, but I guess it wasn't.
I just stole words.
Let me hit you with, okay, does life have a reason?
No. Oh, I think I mentioned a lot of these questions kind of come back to the same concepts. In last week's episode, it was kind of the same thing. It's like, does life inherently have a purpose? Are we here for a reason? And I said that I really like existential philosophy in terms of, like, finding purposes, or, like, defining I am here or whatever. I love existentialism in that aspect because it's like nihilism but happier. They say, like, life is inherently meaningless. Literally everything that exists right now is constructed by ourselves, and we just choose to believe it because it's easier than, like, constructing everything from scratch for ourselves, right? Like government, religion, I don't know, a lot of these things I just kind of tag onto because whatever, it's here, and I'd rather not spend my youth being like, oh, right, so what's the most effective way to self-govern? Like, you know what, I'll follow your laws, it's fine. But no, life does not have a meaning inherently, because why would it? I mean, we're here, we're vibing. But we can choose to do what we want with life. Like, because it has no meaning, now we have the freedom to make meaning for ourselves. And that's basically what it states. So, like, nothing matters. We're gonna die. Like, nothing's permanent. So might as well do what you want. Like, go follow your dreams, achieve your goals, do whatever.
Facts.
Does life have a meaning? No. But we make one for ourselves just to make life a little more tolerable.
Yes. I also agree, like, with the existentialist philosophy.
Oh, you have to cough. I don't have the virus, thank you very much. Okay, continue.
All right, I agree with, like, the whole concept of existentialism too. Like, making a purpose for your life rather than, just being like, life has no purpose, so let's just do whatever. I mean, I guess YOLO to an extent, but also, like, I feel like everyone has their own thing that they want out of life, and I think we should kind of aim to get that, even though not everyone's life has the same purpose. Basically, like, when you're born, you don't know what the purpose of your life is going to be, but as you grow up, you kind of form, like, a set of desires that you want out of life, and then you make your own purpose, I guess.
Exactly.
Like, we read this book, East of Eden. I don't know if you've read that. We read it for school.
No.
I would recommend it to you, since you said you love existentialism.
Okay, I'll write it down. Thank you.
Yeah, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Yeah. You know what? I wish I could loan it to you, but I could, like, mail it.
No, we have my library does, like, audiobooks and ebooks.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, so yeah. I'll see if I can find it. I'm reading The Stranger. That one's also existential. But East of Eden, what's about?
It's basically kind of chronicling, different generations kind of thing. It's like a kind of true story, but I feel like it's a little exaggerated because sometimes it gets a little ridiculous, but it's about kind of the lives of these two. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's the lives of these two brothers, and, like, it's kind of how they, like, went on completely different paths and kind of why. Like, it gives you background. Very interesting book.
That's thought-provoking. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it very well. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're still mid-sentence.
Oh, no. I feel like it just kind of illustrates existentialism.
Well. No, that's cool. I'll read it. In terms of, like, what we read in school, we read Grendel, which was that one was, like, also comparing existentialism with nihilism. I like that one's the one that kind of introduced me to existentialism. Like I knew what it was, but then the book really like got me into it because I was like, huh, this is interesting and I like this. So
Grendel.
Yeah, Grendel by John something. I don't know, man.
Maybe it's by the same guy because this used to
Maybe
be
it was
by John.
John Stein. No, I don't think it was. Either way, Grendel. Yeah, that one was existentialist. Look at that, y'all. We have reading recommendations for y'all. So East of Eden, Grendel, and The Stranger, if you want some existentialist works to make you think. Ooh, this one's interesting, kind of talking about existentialism. Does living your life for others make your life have meaning? I know, I don't know how to answer this. It's interesting.
Living your life for others make your life have meaning. I don't think so, because I feel like you have to craft your own meaning kind of thing. So I guess living your life to help others is good, but I think there's like a fine line between like completely devoting your life to other people and devoting your life to helping other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I think that line is kind of a gray area, but if you cross that, threshold into just living your life just to please others, I feel like you're just not really like truly realizing your purpose in life. Like you're not defining what you need out of life. You're just kind of like tailoring your life to, you're like a side
character to your own life. It's weird.
Exactly. And you don't want to be that. I mean, you want to like own your own life and realize your own, because I mean, of course sometimes it's very difficult to not live your life for others. Like if you have family members that are dependent, but even then, like you can still live your life and help those people. You know what I mean? So that's my answer.
I don't know. It wasn't a documentary, but it was like a movie adaptation of someone's story. I completely forgot the title. I'll like put it in the description if I remember. But basically, it was like there's this kid. He had like a thing for like tinkering with things and like putting parts together and building stuff. And he was from like a really poor village in Africa. I forgot what state. I sound super like uninformed, but yeah, basically it was they had like failing crops. There was famine going on, but this boy had like a thing for tinkering and putting stuff together, right? And down the line, he realized he wanted his dream to be like to build something really big, or he wanted to keep doing that. But because of the famine and like because of all these problems going on, obviously like his family, the other people in the village, they're like, dude, you need to like focus on these immediate problems right now. We have nothing to eat. You can't think about building some giant like structure when there are people starving. But in the end, he built a windmill, or not a windmill. It was a windmill, but it also like brought water. He built some form of like irrigation for the village, and that's what helped the crops grow in the end. And he knew in his heart, like, okay, this thing I'm about to build, it's going to help people. They just have to get on board with it, right? And so that was kind of like, as you said, there's a difference between helping others and then living for others. He could have easily quit that dream and like just farmed and like tended to the immediate problems, but he still realized his own goals and realized, there is a way I can help others by doing what I want to do. And so I think that's
like
medium.
A perfect,
it was the perfect medium between the two.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds like a good movie.
It is a good movie. I really like the movie. I'll put it once I remember, and I'll be a little bit more politically correct with my description of it, in the description. But okay, next question is. Oh wait, I asked this. Did I ask this last week? I don't know. Whatever. Is death a new beginning? We always have to hit someone with a mortality question. It's not a complete segment without one of them.
Is death a new beginning? Oh, I feel like this is kind of a reincarnation question.
Yeah, kind of.
It could be, I guess. I do kind of believe in the whole concept of reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, I guess death is a new beginning. I don't believe in like the traditional sense, like you're reincarnated as like a person. But like I feel like you could be reincarnated, right? Like you're kind of like a tree or like a worm or something. I mean, you're helping.
You contribute to the
Exactly. Yeah. Nitrogen fixing. I don't want to get into
Yeah.
biological because I don't really know. But yeah, I think death is a new beginning because we're, just by we're kind of contributing to nature and life, although it may not be like, oh, I was Sandhya and now I'm like John in like a new life or something, but you're
Right.
still like contributing to the world around you, I guess.
I think that's valid. I kind of have similar. For me, I believe in reincarnation in a more like literal sense, as you said, where it's like reincarnated as John. As weird and outlandish as it sounds, I mean, I don't have to justify what I believe to anyone. If it makes me happy, then like it makes me happy,
Yeah,
right? I
exactly.
hate people who are like, why would you believe that? Like, you know what? Does it hurt you? But no, yeah, I mean, as you said, I'm not super religious. Like, I don't know all the myths and the stories and like all the names and stuff, but I am more of a spiritual person, so I know a lot of the philosophy, a lot of like yoga and like,
Right.
meditation and that kind of stuff. I know that a little bit more in depth than I do like mythology. So I would consider myself more of a spiritual person than religious. But as you said, reincarnation, I think it is a reasonable explanation. If you don't believe in it, that's fine, but it works for me.
Yeah.
I mentioned the book or the short story, The Egg, last week, and I had one of my friends. She was like, "You didn't elaborate on what it talked about." In essence, it wasn't reincarnation completely, but it kind of talks about like the circle of life, how like we are all one thing. And so it was interesting. I liked the story's take on things. Um it was still fairly like it is just thought provoking, I guess.
Yeah, that
I
sounds like
like
something I would like to read.
the way the story put it. Yeah, you should read it. I'll link it to you after. This is
So
literally
many
only
book
a page. So many
recommendations.
book recommendations to say. But this one's literally 1 page long. Like it took me 15
Oh.
minutes to read, and I was like, this is the one. So it's good. Here, do you want to ask like one more question each, and then we can wrap
Yes,
things
let's
up?
do
All
that.
right.
All
Um,
right.
whose question? Oh, right, your turn to ask.
I think it's okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Can memories be erased?
Yes. Oh yeah, 100%. Because we were talking about self-perception last week. I don't know how I didn't bring this up, but like it's an interesting topic where our perception of ourselves or our like self-image is entirely made up. Like there's so many instances, and I'm sure you've had this, anyone who's listening, we've all had this, where it's like we're talking to someone and they're like, oh, you did this, and I'm like, I did? Like their image of you is so different, and like there's so many memories of myself in my life that I just do not remember. They're completely erased. But then there are other people, and my entire identity is formed off of that one incident, which I don't remember. So can memories be erased? Yeah, absolutely. When they're not of use to your brain anymore, their brain discards it.
Yeah, like there's this well, this isn't really like memory erasure in the sense you're talking about, but there's this movie called Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I feel like it's a very like one of those movies that like indie people watch and like they say that it's
It
good.
sounds
I don't
very
know.
hipster.
But I think it is genuinely good. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a good movie, but that's kind of sidetracked. It's just like it's about genuine memory erasure. Like they like have the ability to erase someone out of their brain if they don't want to think about them anymore. And
Whoa.
I feel like it's possible to do that. I mean, of course not completely, but I feel like we can condition ourselves to like stop remembering certain things or like just not think about certain events that happened. That like people that have gone through major trauma, I'm sure, are able to do that. I've read about that a little bit. Like it's like they are able to like, or they don't do it on purpose, I guess, but the
It just
event was so
happens. Your
traumatic
brain
that
just
right.
shuts it off.
Right. They just can't live through that again, so they just like they erase that memory from their
Mm-hmm.
brain. I mean, I can't say I've gone through anything like
Near
that
death moment.
traumatic, but I think that it is possible to erase
Yeah.
memories, people, events from your brain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Okay, one last question. Let's see. Ooh, this one's interesting. I I was convinced I was going to be an economics major for like a good 6 months last year, and then I pulled a 180 on myself. So this one I thought about it a lot because I'll get into it once I give my take. But the question is, if all the currencies in the world did not have monetary value, would our world be a much better place?
I mean, I would say yes.
Mhm.
Like, go back to the barter system.
I will give you a horse for my wife. Or no, I will take a horse for my wife.
Like in Holes when they trade a pig for the man. Yeah, that's an interesting question. I feel like that would be a lot more disorganized than it is currently. But like I think we could get used to it after some time because like
Yeah.
currencies divide the world to an extent. Like look at countries that we consider to be like lesser developed and like our countries and then
Third
countries
world.
that are more developed. Third world didn't that's a bad quotation, third world.
Yeah. Oh,
We're
yeah. If
not
you're not watching
actually
this on YouTube, this was very much in quotations.
yeah, we don't
We
but
do not
yeah,
condone
I
language
feel
that.
like if you look at currency values there versus like those countries that are like I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that makes any sense. I know nothing about economics, but like it's a trend that I've noticed generally. Like the dollar goes farther in certain countries and doesn't go as far in other countries. And I feel like that somehow like these different currencies divide us
Hmm.
in a way. And I feel like if I mean obviously the barter system is not easy to implement,
Because then it's
but
like really arbitrary, all the values of everything. But no, I get what you mean. I think, or you finish your thought, then I'll give my take.
no. I mean, like obviously I'm I don't legitimately believe like we should completely take
Right.
currency out of the world and start trading like things for things.
But it's,
That's mostly a joke, but if it were viable, I wouldn't
yeah,
mind.
like the current system's not working, and we know that. Um, I think, yeah, you brought up an interesting point. I honestly feel like the whole like relative currency value thing, it in a weird like twisted way. I don't know how much of a reach this is because even like my economics knowledge, I took one introductory course. The most I could do is draw a 4x graph for you. But it kind of like perpetuates the colonist mindset. Like who put quote unquote third world countries into this third world position? Colonization, right? And now when you introduce currency that's like relative to other countries, obviously they're going to be behind because we're like the gold standard right now, and we're the ones that put people in a position to like not be at the same level when they were before, like pre-colonization. So that's one thing. Two, economics is so wacky because like things made sense when we were still on like the gold standard. I'm not saying that's like the way to go. I'm not saying we should like still be on gold standard currency, but like the way it is now is so wacky. Like the value of currency is completely made up. Like we just assign this piece of like paper value and roll with it. Like there's nothing backing this currency up. It's just paper. And we've just created a
That's weird.
system. Yeah, we've just created an entire system based on like something that doesn't even exist, and we're just all rolling with it. It's like what you said about the days of the week. We all just collectively decided that this means something, and now it does.
Yeah, that's weird to think about.
Yeah. So would the world be a better place? Honestly, I think so because we've dug ourselves so far down a hole, and we're so caught up in the system. No one wants to change it because it's such a colossal task to take on. But
Yeah,
like,
no, everyone would have to be on board with that, like
exactly.
globally.
And we know Jeff Bezos, our buddy boy, would not be on board with that.
Even I feel like I can say this in theory, but I feel like it would be so difficult like to adapt to like a new
Barter.
world with just no money at all.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy thing.
Can't imagine a world like that.
You know what's even funnier about barter and trade? I just thought, you know, like you read those books, like historical books, or like you hear like in old times, they'd like barter something for like a story. Can you imagine?
Oh, yeah.
I would be filthy rich. It's like, oh yeah, you give me that lip balm, and I will tell you about the time I I stepped into a pit of mud. despite explicitly being told not to. That actually happened. Fun fact, you guys. I got myself stuck in mud.
Bruh.
Now give me a lip balm. They were like philosophers. Like they were like, bring me food and I will enlighten you. Dude, what a life.
Yeah, honestly, like you could literally just say whatever you want
Yeah, I
and
feel like,
people can give you money or like give you not money, give
or
you
like just feed you.
items.
Yeah.
That's so weird to me. I feel like another reason why the barter system worked back then is because like nobody had internet and there was no way to like
Yeah.
connect with everyone. Because I feel like in these times, like if we tried to do the barter system,
There's just too
like
much.
if someone was trying to prank me, I'd honestly just like turn to the internet and be like, how much is this worth?
Yeah,
Like
and then I find out
that's why
someone
we
like,
need something
for
like
real.
something universal that like if we all just had the same currency, I
Yeah,
feel
like a
like that
universe.
would work.
Everyone, Bitcoin. We're proponents of Bitcoin.
I have no authority to talk about this, and I feel kind of like I'm like, what if these people, what if some economics professor listens and like they're like, okay, you don't know anything.
Here's an email about why everything you said is wrong. No, but it is true. Like we've just dug ourselves into a system so far down that like there's no way to get ourselves out of it. But I think, yeah. Basically, to summarize what we were saying, I think currency was a good idea in theory because it standardizes things. But like we've developed the economic, like globally, we've developed the economic system so much that like even that's not standardized anymore. Like everything's just wacky. And we
I
just kind
feel
of
like
roll
this
with
is
it.
just that's such a this website is a
Isn't it? There's so many good
great set of
questions.
questions. Like
Yeah.
I like imagine like meeting a new person and just like hitting
So
them with an
great.
allocation question. Like I feel like that would be
I
so
would lose
interesting.
friends. Hi, my name is Sanika. Do you think the world would be a better place without currency?
They'd like run away.
Like, okay, bye.
Like I'm done.
That would
No,
be
because people are always talking about how they feel like they want to have those deeper conversations. Like I don't know if you've seen those.
I'm one
Okay,
of those
again,
people.
I circle back to TikTok, but like they're like, oh, in today's world, we're all about hookup culture and like dating apps and stuff. But I wish, like, can we just talk about aliens and stuff? They're
I
always
will
like,
provide you with the alien questions. You know what? If you really want it, I will start the weirdest conversations with you.
I mean, that's what they seem to want. But I feel
Yeah,
like
for real.
I feel like that's just like
There's a time
just
and place for everything.
exactly like you don't just begin a friendship by saying, will a curb on buying guns and arms reduce the number of shooting sprees in the world? Like, I feel like that's just so.
Like, oh, hello to you too. Honestly, no. You know what? I get it though. Like, while I wouldn't do that myself to other people, I'm available for that. Like, if you ever want to drop by and become my friend, literally just drop the weirdest question and I will start talking to you. It's cool. It's cool. As long as our beliefs perfectly align and that, like,
As long,
you don't say
as
anything
long
problematic, we're good. We're great.
I felt that last part.
Again, everyone, what started in quarantine has now come to a non-temporary end. A huge thank you goes out to Allocation again for giving us lovely, lovely questions. And thank you to our special guest, Sandhya. She's one of my, oh, I didn't even introduce you. You're like one of my really good childhood friends. And we've stayed in touch since I've moved and stuff. So thank you for being in this episode. I love you. We hope you continue to join us every Tuesday at 5 p.m. for more advice and overall shenanigans. Next week, Chelsea will be doing her solo segment. So until next time, this is Armbridge Podcast.